Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be focusing on my garage. This is going to be my garage organization makeover. And so as you can see here, we do use our garage to park our cars, but we also use our garage to store all of our stuff. So the point of this organization video is to make sure we can get our stuff in the garage along with our cars. And so I have a pegboard system that I want to put up, and I also am going to be using some 2x4s in order to hang some things on the wall. I'm also going to be cleaning up some of this stuff on the wall, cleaning off the door. I fully plan to repaint that door, but that's probably a future project. I'm going to fix some of those spots and holes in the wall. First things first is to make sure that I clean out everything in the garage. So I'm throwing away things that we don't need. I'm packing away things that we do that's going to eventually go on the wall, and just working with a clean space. And so right here what I'm doing is patching up those holes on the wall, scraping off some paint there, and I'm going to clean off the walls and putty them. And then you just use regular putty that you would use in the house in order to putty up those that drywall. And then I'm just using simple soap and water to wipe down everything that's in that area to get it clean and presentable. And you can see that my apprentice, as always, is there to help. So first thing I'm going to do is start working on these shelves. So what I did was I got an MDF sheet at my local home improvement store, and I actually had them cut down the sheets to the size that I wanted. I believe my size is about 14 or 15 inches thick. That's how big I wanted my shelves to be. And I'm just using a regular white paint with primer to paint the shelves white. Figured that it would be easier to paint the shelves before you put them up on the wall, so that's what I'm doing here. And just using a roller, the roller I figured would be a little bit faster than a paintbrush, and not even using, just pouring the paint out of the can and painting the shelves. And so now I'm spray painting the brackets. The size brackets that I needed weren't available at the home improvement store. So I got the white ones, but I wanted them to be black. I'm going for a white and black theme on the wall. And so I'm spray painting the brackets and also the screws used with the brackets that put them on the wall and attach them to the shelves. Just spray painting them black. Now for the pegboard system, I am using 1x2s in order to give me that space that's needed in between your pegboard and your wall, so that you can stick your pegs into the wall. And to make it easier to hang on the wall, I am pre-drilling my screws into the 1x2s with the 1x2s off of the wall. So I'm just going to drill a pilot hole and then pre-drill my screws. I believe I'm using 3-inch wood screws here. Since I'm by myself hanging them up on the wall, I think it'd just be much easier. What's also easier is I took my level for how high I wanted my pegboard to be, and I actually drew a line on the wall, a level line, so that I knew where to put the 1x2s. So when I went up to hang the 1x2s, my 1x2 would be level. So here I am doing the bottom 1x2 and checking to see if I am straight on that line. And what I do is I screw in one side and then screw in the other end and make sure that it's screwed in to all the studs, and come back and finish screwing the rest of the wood screws into the wall. So here I'm measuring the height of my pegboard. I'm using the entire pegboard sheet, which is 48 by 96 inches. And so I did the exact same thing. I made my line across the wall to make sure that my 1x2 would be level. I'm going to screw in one end, go to the other side, screw in the other end on that line, and then finish screwing in all the other screws, making sure that I'm hitting a stud for all the screws. And then once I get my 2x4s screwed into the studs, I'm then going to put my pegboard up on the wall. I'm also going to use 3-inch screws along with washers. You want to use washers when screwing your wood screws into your pegboard so that your screws do not go through your pegboard. Prior to getting that pegboard up on the wall, there's an electrical outlet over on that wall. So I took measurements for that electrical outlet, and so what I'm doing here is going to draw a little rectangle using my square, and I'm going to drill out saw out a rectangle so that I have access to the electrical. So I drew my square. I'm using my drill to drill holes in the 4 corners, and then I'm going to use my my saw my jigsaw in order to jigsaw that rectangle out to make room for the outlet. So once I got that pegboard up on the wall, now I'm going to be screwing in my shelves. And so I wanted to have just a little bit of space, or enough space where I would have my shelves to the roof of the garage, so I have enough space to store things up there. And so I decided to screw in the brackets right on top of my pegboard system. And so at each stud, I am going to put a bracket. And so what I do first is put the bracket up on the wall, and then with my pencil I'm going to mark the holes in the bracket, and then I'm going to drill or drill pilot holes into the studs. And then once I get those pilot holes drilled in, I'll put the bracket up using the screws, and they're drilled directly into the studs. And so with this system, we want to make sure that all of our items that are going on the wall are drilled into studs. Since we are going to be using this space to store tools and to store our cars, we want to make sure that nothing falls over and falls on top of our cars in the middle of the night. And so as you can see, everything is evenly spaced, except if you can see the brackets on the far right, they have a little bit more space than the other brackets because that's where my studs are. So I'm drilling straight into the studs. I'm not using anchors or anything like that. I want to drill straight into my studs. And so I continue to drill those brackets going across the entire back wall of my garage. So then I place my shelves that I painted, my MDF shelves, up on the wall. I wanted to leave that space in between the two shelves because I'm going to have some extra vertical shelving there where I'm going to put things like spray paint cans and paint so I can have access to it. But what I want to do is make sure that I'm drilling the shelves and attaching them to the brackets. So I'm going to pre-drill some holes. And then I'm going to take my screws and I'm going to drill the MDF shelves into the brackets. So for our system to hang heavier things, I decided to take some 2x4s, had those cut down at the home improvement store to the length that I needed. And I'm actually going to screw those into the studs also. I decided to paint them black. I spray painted them black. And this system is going to be used to hang some of our heavier items, for instance, the stroller, the baby stroller. I've got a dolly, some bicycles, so we can get those off of the floor and onto the wall. So again, I'm just hitting every stud. I'm putting 2 screws per stud. I'm using 3-inch wood screws, and I'm going to put 3 of these 2x4s up on this half of the wall. And so there goes those vertical shelving, that vertical shelving I was mentioning earlier, just so I can have some just additional storage. I'm thinking probably using this for my paint that I have, and I can store it up there. It's enough room to fit 4 quart size paint cans on those shelves, even though that's a gallon size. And so what I'm doing here is I'm going to just touch up my shelves with some more of that white paint. Again, this is just simple white paint that I grabbed off of the shelves at the home improvement store. I didn't have it tinted. And so once I finish that touch up, the next step is to organize everything. And so you can go to the home improvement store and get your peg system pieces, and you can also get the heavier duty systems that go into the 2x4s. And so you want to use those in order to store your heavier items. But here I'm just organizing the space with what makes sense to me, how I use my tools, what I use more often, and this will be adjusted throughout. You know, you can always change it up. And there you go. That wood storage space over to the side, I didn't get that on video, but I also have my scrap wood over there. So if you like this video, please subscribe below. Feel free to leave any comments, say hi. If you have any questions, let me know and I will get back to you. Thank you again for watching. You all have a great day.